the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquel, and I flew straight into the sun. Didn't fly too close. Straight into it.
I'm John Gilardi, and I'm a robot. That's me.
Yeah, you are, bud.
Yep.
That's you.
So what did we watch? We watched...
What did we watch?
Marvel's...
What we watched this week? Yeah.
Good old recording this remote, talking over each other right off the bat. It's good stuff.
Hell, here we go, bud.
So we watched Marvel's The Eternals. It's the latest edition from the MCU. All new characters. You know, I guess maybe they're starting their big new arc or phase, or I don't know what it is. Directed by Chloe Zhao. If I'm saying that right, I'm sorry if not. But Academy Award winning director, by the way, which definitely brought some clout to this production. So yeah, I don't just where do you have any
where do you begin? So I'll synopsize it. You did a little pitch of what we were doing. So Synopsis of Eternals. There's some people here who are Eternals. They've been around for forever. And they've been fucking cutting it up with us, hanging out, doing cool guy stuff, not interfering because Arishem said, "Hey, don't interfere." And then they didn't. So now they fight deviants. That's it. They fight deviants, and so the deviants show them back up, and they're like, "Whoa, better stop them." There's a lot of stuff. This movie is like a big lore dump.
Yeah, so it's a lot of exposition. The movie starts off very heavy exposition, but essentially it's like 8 or 9 or 10 kind of godlike figures. They're called Eternals. They're sent in from space to watch over humans and guide them through life, through development, and all these different things. You have different kind of caricatures. You have Athena, who's a warrior and a very wise person. She obviously, through the annals of history, or where the legends of Athena come from, in this world. Or there's Festus, who's Hephaestus. Ajax, or I think his name is, it's Ajax.
Oh, Fastos, yeah.
Another one off the top is Icarus, obviously Icarus, who flew too close to the sun, which they very literally represent, which felt like not even like college film student level of dumb, like it's something dumber than that.
Yeah.
But that's getting ahead. And then
as we're getting way ahead,
they're here to take care of Earth and fight the Deviants, which are these deep space alien monsters, and they've quelled them, and they're just kind of hanging out, waiting for the next thing, and they realize stuff's starting to get weird, and they realize what the real purpose.
Strange.
Yeah, they realize what the real purpose is.
Maybe it's not how it's supposed to have been.
It actually scratched the niche that I got from the Old Guard, which is these kind of immortality over the years. So I like that a lot in terms of I guess I should have known that this is what this movie is going to offer, but it's a really cool dynamic, and it's cool to see and represented, and how they've changed in the comments they make. But I think they definitely fall short of a lot of things of eternal beings and seeing people die and all these different things. I don't know. Like there's a lot of missed opportunity of how to process seeing things come and go, over the years. And especially relationships relationships that last thousands of years isn't a real thing. So like, what would that look like? And it's very, it just they feel like normal people in the lens of a 21st century. So it's like, it's very, it's just the Marvel sheen on it. So that actually obviously had to kind of feel familiar, but it felt a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's lots of stuff in this movie that I feel some type of way about. and it's funny because it's like, in some ways I like it because it does sort of like scratch that itch, and like I love a good lore dump, because I love some sweet deep lore, fucking great shit. But also, I don't know. I feel like they really did a disservice to the current predicament of the characters by showing us so many flashbacks. And like that was one of the things, my biggest complaint about this movie, and it'll come back around. I'll come back and hit it again because this is my biggest complaint about it, is how weirdly structured and disordered the story is. Not even in terms of like, oh, this is the flashback that we need to see, but it's like it feels like a lot of the like drama or like intrigue about the characters was removed through these flashbacks. Even outside of the sort of the main one that I'm sure that you can probably be like, oh yeah, okay, well, duh. But also like, I don't know, because I want to see them, and I don't have a good solution, because it's like I want to see them.
The flashbacks are cool looking. Like, yeah, exactly. It's cool to see, like Babylon.
But also like,
and then they go back to Babylon in present day and its ruins, and they don't give a shit that they're uncovering this archaeological site that they used to call home. I mean, I
wonder if this movie should have been more like 2 parts, where it's like we kind of see the flashbacks in like 40 minutes in the beginning, and then we get to it. I don't know. I just feel like there's like nuggets here that are cool. And I like the different representations and like how all the characters feel so different, but then are so familiar with each other. I think they did a good job with those relationships and stuff. But also, it's just like the story is so disordered and like all over the place for me.
Also, it's like no true villain, which doesn't give it a center. And like the villains aren't villains, which it's like the ultimate gray area non-villain situation. Like you have, spoiler alert, you have Icarus, who's kind of like a religious zealot type. You have the Celestials, who are,
he's not even like a religious zealot type. He's just like a good soldier, but
that's what I think they're trying to say.
Weird.
But either way, so like he's like just a good soldier that follows orders, or he's like falling back on this concept of a religion of. It's very loosely tied. It's not clear. That's the issue. It's not good. But then you also have the Celestials, who are just kind of doing their job. They're not really evil, and in the end, it's just a cycle of life is what they're just perpetuating. So it's neither good nor bad. It's what needs to be done, and the humans need sacrifice for that. And then you have the random deviant who develops, and he's just kind of like, you guys are killing my people. Stop. Yeah, but he doesn't I don't know. It's so weird.
There was part of me that was like, man, I really hope that he takes Thena and becomes his own character, Yeah. And like I thought that would have been an interesting way to do that, where it's like he takes Thena and then becomes like an Eternal sort of, and then like they would be like, hey, we all want to survive, let's all survive, and I'm a person now. I don't fucking know. But like, this movie is a confusing movie for me, because I like parts of it, but for the most part I'm like, come on, like I feel like we could have done better here.
Yeah, it's a weird movie because I kind of liked it, but it's also just I think that's the part of me that just likes seeing kind of history stuff, and then the immortality dynamic, and like that stuff was fun for me, even though it was like a boring, confused, trying to do too much movie. That like even around all the annoying shit and dumb stuff, I enjoyed the little the snapshots here.
History jazz.
Yeah, even like something as simple as the guy, I forgot his name, but being the Bollywood actor, and it's like yeah, see, this is me now, and then here's my father, and then here's my grandfather, and
Yeah.
that's so fun, and that's such a fun play on that kind of thing, and they do get into some of the weight of and Kingo was his name, but and Bingo was his name. Is that a song? They just delivered that like that song. B-I-N-G-O-B. Bingo was his name.
Yeah.
And Kingo was his name.
Kingo was his name.
Well, I won't forget that name now. But I guess they said like I didn't touch on like how there was like the dealing with the weight of living forever and all this stuff, and they do have some stuff like with the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, and then Cortez like sacking of I'm blanking now. It's either Maya or Aztec.
Teno, not a minor. It was the main city. It's Mexico City. Chitlan.
Yeah, and
I don't know how to say it right.
I think
I'm not saying it right. I know I'm not saying it right.
The scenes were done well, I guess, in terms of their placement and their motivations, but it was a weird set piece for me with the atomic bombings because of the atrocities that had happened in the last 50 years, and
yeah. Well, and then later he said that guy, the same guy, Fastos, said, well, that's how you advance technology is through war.
Yeah.
And that's why.
And it's a weird, like, there had been so much bombing and killing of innocent people and total war being waged already for 5 years, arguably by his inventions in warfare, and it's just like it should have been more of a what are they going to do to themselves now, more so than all the innocents that died here. You know what I mean? Like it just felt very weird, cherry picked kind of thing, and it was very, the imagery was great, but I'm just sitting here thinking about the Holocaust and like the destruction of Russia.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
And the total war waged over there, and all this crazy stuff. I mean, what happened in Manchuria and all that stuff too, and it's an oversimplification, and it doesn't matter.
But it's a Marvel movie.
It did what it needed in the movie, but I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. Is like you can't. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of really weird missed opportunities, because that's one of my favorite. I don't know. Is it like a subgenre within a genre where it's like the immortal who? What do they do now? They have no mission. They are immortal. They are alive. What do they do? There is no job for them to do. They've not, like, I can't even, like, I know that they've been alive for thousands of years, but like time still passes, and it's like even if time passes and you all abandon, you all go your separate ways in 1521, that's still almost 500 years. That's 500 years of you fucking kicking it. And it's like, now your mission is done. You've got 500 years free of doing just nothing. And it's like that. There's got to be there's so much to think about, because you can't do anything. You can't die. There's nothing that can beat you, really. And it's like Marvel is not ready or unable to, because of the cut, is to go and to be like, what is my purpose?
Yeah. I mean, they touch at it with Makara, the fast one, where she's she's chilling. She's like, I'm ready to leave, guys. Come on. Like, but it's like, if she'd been really that impatient,
everything was too much. I don't know. It's funny. It's like, I feel like everything was too light of a lil. Like, I honestly think the best interpretation of, because the thing is, I think if you're a Eternal, bro, I mean, I'm gonna do some weird shit.
They have all the ammunition.
I'm gonna do some weird shit.
Yeah, they have all the ammunition here, where they've been bored for 500 years. They've been living for almost 6,000 years. Like, you don't need a good soldier complex to become the villain. You You don't need his turn to be within the last 100 years or 10 or 5 or whatever it is years, you know? Like,
it'd almost be more interesting if they were like, let me rewrite the last 500 years where like Druig is like, hey, guess what? I'm out of here. And they had to sort of like maybe, so that's the Aztec Empire goes down. I think maybe the Olmecs or the Incas were before that. But like, what if he takes all of those people and he goes and creates fucking, I don't know, like Atlantis or something like that, because he's got a hive mind situation, and now they've got to go. And then so it's like because again,
instead
they're
he just
eternal,
starts a
so
logging
it's like
camp.
sort of like casual villainy, where it's like, hey, come on, bud, and it's like, hey, you're not gonna kill me, are you? No, I'm not gonna kill you, but stop. All right, well, we're gonna fight a little bit, and I'm gonna trick you. And Icarus is like, I got tricked, and then like he gets away, or then you know, I don't know. They just play like weird games with each other because they've got nothing to do, rather than just like chilling and being like, you know. And you can still have a couple of them, like have Fastus, like find his family and be like, I'm done playing these games that you guys have. Like, I think that would be a more interesting movie if they had split up for more ideological reasons, and then had to, because the fucking core of the movie is this ideological idea of sacrificing 7 billion people so that numerous billions of planets like it can exist. You know?
Yeah. And
it's like, that's a cool idea. That's like a cosmic fucking trolley scenario. And
yeah.
Maybe if they learn that, then it can be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and there's no reason to not give them that purpose from the outset too. You know, like, and why give them personalities? And like, if they're these created beings, it's weird. I don't know.
It's a flawed system that the Celestials have.
Yeah.
Where they admit that instead of them
up.
being automatons, where they're just like doing what they have to do the thing, they're like, I have personality and I form emotions. It's like, why would you want that? If you're a Celestial and they're supposed to do a job, I don't want you to have emotions and feel stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think we were touching on something that made me think about an angle that they had that could have been cool in terms of storytelling and the like bringing that back to the flashbacks, or a way to do the flashbacks more effectively would be to, like, you know, we're in the middle of this civil war, and it's a civil war. Like, you have the stage, you know, and instead they kind of do a weird last minute kind of split fight, and then like, oh, I made a mistake, I'm gonna go find the sun. Like, the stage is there, it makes sense, it's compelling. You have you like, it would make sense for them to have differences after so much time. You establish those stakes earlier, that some have fallen in love with Earth. You know, you have Athena, Gilgamesh, and Circe, and Festus, and then you have the other side, you know, who just want to get off. You know, Mercury, she just wants to get off the planet, and Icarus and Sprite because she loves him, and you know, maybe then you have like Kingo in the kind of in the middle. There's a cool dynamic there if they establish those stakes early on, and then you do the flashbacks to see when they were united and they had these similarities, and you can see where the splits were happening. Because that's you get the God, I can't speak. You get the exposition there.
You can have,
but then you also are, the story's progressing and the characters are progressing in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Because in this, despite the movie starting in modern day, you're progressing towards the end. You're progressing to the conclusion at the same way that the flashbacks are progressing to the same conclusion. So it's it doesn't.
Yeah.
The flashbacks.
I wonder too.
I don't know, besides being cool looking, that you don't get a lot from that, you know.
Yeah, I wonder too if there's a more interesting way to have the flashbacks parallel.
This, like a split.
Yeah, either the split or like the coming back together, and I would like.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like,
you
see them split in the flashbacks,
like
but they come together in the present day, or something.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder too if like there's like a way where they could like again, because you have like essentially a lot of times you have like your first act villain or whatever that you solve real fast, and then you have your second act villain, which is the one that has been behind it the whole time, or your second and third act villain that causes everybody to come together. Yeah. And so I wonder if like there would be some sort of cool way to more I think one of the ways is to give Icarus more personality, and make him a little bit less flat, which I don't think is Richard Madden's fault. I think that a lot of it is like, I don't know, because I feel like he did a really good job. Like the speech that he gave when he's like, he came in and put his suit on and was like, listen, like, I can't let you do this, guys. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good moment. I like this moment. This is a good moment. And so that leads me to believe that there's more there that I would like. But basically, so we've got like our first act, which is them in the past. And so maybe they're like tracking maybe it's like the sort of like, let's take our Deviant. Let's take our Deviant who evolves. There's a Deviant who evolves and is like kind of like gaining steam or something like that. And then there's some sort of something where it's then revealed later that Icarus has been like taking, because this is what I thought, and I thought it was going to be really fucking cool. I'm homelandering Icarus a little bit, where when he took Ajax out there, I thought that he had a farm of deviants that he was keeping, and I was like, whoa, but that wasn't what happened. And then so that made me think, it's like, whoa, what if he did, and like he was like training his own Eternals or something like that, and so I don't know, something like that where it's like he's been doing this on his own for a while, and like maybe he's the reason that they sort of split up, which leads to them getting back together, and there's some sort of carryover, because there's no carryover really from the very beginning. You know, I think that's one of the things where the flashbacks, it just serves to show us how they got from point A to point B and like sort of their personalities and but it doesn't serve to show us where they are in their current story. And I think that's what I'm missing. Yeah. More than any sort of specific thing. It's like it doesn't serve to show us specifically how we got to here. It doesn't give us any information about what it is, except for the fact that him and Cersei love each other.
Well, yeah, exactly. And even the introduction of the characters in present day is very delayed, and you don't get them over, like, it takes a while to, like, you see Gilgamesh in the past, and Athena, and Mercury, and Druig, but they're introduced modern day timeline so late in the movie, and so it's a weird sense of, like the flashbacks exist for getting some kind of, like, character development and history and basis there for them, and then, you know, you build off of it when you see them in present day. But it's I don't know. I think they actually do pretty decently with managing the cast and how many people there are.
The 10 characters.
Yeah. Like I think I got to know who they are pretty well, so maybe they did it right. Maybe that's the right way to do it. And the point is, it's just not something you should do, because it's very hard to do and very you lose too many opportunities, you know, to tell a story of good characters that way. But that, I mean, I guess just kind of was expanding on what you were saying, but I don't know.
Yeah. So what did you like about this movie?
I like the history stuff. I like some of the, like, again, the immortal stuff. I like the kind of self-reflexive, almost teetering on self-aware aspect of everything being filmed by Kingo's assistant. That was fun.
Oh yeah. I like Kingo's assistant a lot.
Yeah, I like the designs of the costumes and the art direction and the flashbacks and all that. I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't love it. So it's overall, like, I really liked the aspects, but as a whole, a lot of it didn't come together.
Yeah.
The final set piece was kind of lame. It wasn't very clear what the thingamabob was that Festus made. You know, like they could unite their powers to do something, which wasn't clear what it was doing, and they didn't have all of them because some of them dipped. And Kingo, he just leaves. He's not even part of the final act. He just dips, and then he shows back up. And he's like, "What's up?" Which is just bizarre. The only reason that's excusable
he didn't
is
have a he didn't have a comeback. Like I expected him to have a comeback.
Yeah, like the save at the 11th hour or something. But he just pieces out.
He's just out.
Which I feel like is a major. I don't know. Like you have these relationships for thousands of years, and that's a pretty big deal. Like, fuck you, man. I thought we were family or something.
Yeah,
and
very much like, wait, you're just gonna.
And when Gilgamesh dies, it's like they mourn, but it's either like they've obviously experienced a lot of death, and I'm sure all of them have come close to some human somehow along the line. So maybe they're very familiar with the idea of death and moving on. But like one of each other is a whole different thing, and they mourn as humans do, but they, there's not even like a for Gilgamesh moment or anything. It's just, and is there another one that dies, or is he the only one that dies? If I remember.
Ajax.
Oh yeah, Ajax. And I mean, they're shaken up. You see the Ajax mourning pretty good, but it's like you're given and portrayed the fact that they're doing this because she was kind of maternal, is the sheen on it, and it's fine. And I think the best reaction is Gilgamesh's when he learns that she dies. Like that felt very real, and it was such a good stark contrast of, oh, here's my pie, and then they're like, she's dead, and then he's sad. He's sad as hell, and he doesn't know what to do, and he freezes. Like I think that's the best reaction. But then cut to family dinner, and they're bantering, right after, and that just felt weird. It undercut the seriousness of that. And it's been a week or two since I saw it, so I don't remember what happens after Gilgamesh dies, but maybe that's the issue, so I don't remember the reaction because the movie moves on. And the movie does, for a movie that, I don't know if it moves, but it doesn't feel quick. So it I don't know. I just, like that again. That's what I'm saying.
It does feel like they move on. I didn't think about it at the time, but it does feel like they move. Like again, a lot of this movie moves really fast,
but it still
and
feels
it's tough
slow.
because how long does this movie feel? How long?
I think it's 2.5 hours, 2:45, something like that.
It's 2.5 hours. Eternals 21 film. Come on, tell me length. 2 hours and 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's a long movie.
Woof. I'll say, I will say it didn't feel like it was that long.
It didn't drag, but I was really confused because I wanted it to end, but I wasn't not enjoying it, which I think was maybe like I like what's here, but I want this to be like moving on,
Let's go.
Yeah. But it doesn't linger in a sense. I think it lingers with the build up to the final act when they're in the ship and they're going back and forth, you're waiting for the betrayal and they're kind of slowing each other down, and then they get to the final area and they're trying to start the big fight, and then they're slowing each other down, and it's like it's just the constant kind of dragging down away from the foregone conclusion is that they're going to win. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's holding itself back, literally in the sense of like getting to the conclusion, and then the conclusion's not very satisfying because you don't understand what's happening technically, or what the rules are, or why they won. And then you have the Deviant man show up. He literally walks in to a fight and he's like, "Sup, I'm here now."
and he's like, "What's up, guys?" And then they're like, "Wait a second, no."
And obviously, if you look at it logically, he should team up with Team Cersei because they're trying to stop the destruction of the world. He wants the preservation of his people. And I could see Cersei and them becoming more real. Like they're less disenfranchised. Like they're disenfranchised now from the whole Celestial thing, and they're like, we don't need to kill Celestials. Maybe we can figure something out. Like they have their needs, but maybe we can figure out how to fulfill them so that we don't have to fucking exterminate these beings.
Yeah, because they're doing stuff. They're not like look, they have a brain. He has talk. It's not necessarily like he has talk. He has emotion. He has connections. It's not necessarily like the end all be all. Everything is bad.
Yeah, I mean the movie would have been better suited to leave the Celestials as just dumb galactic monsters than what they did. They tried to make them interesting, and then it created a loose end that actually could have been more interesting.
The Deviants?
Yeah, but it just never didn't go anywhere, and it just became a distraction.
Yeah. Well, that's what what's his name? Thanos is a Eternal with a deviant gene. Or is he he's a Celestial with a deviant gene?
It's hard. Well, I don't know. I think he's got deviant in him.
He's got a deviant. Sure. He's got the deviant gene somehow. That's what the whole thing is. Is Thanos? He's a Titan with a deviant gene. Is Thanos a Celestial?
No.
Thanos?
I don't think so.
Is Thanos a deviant, an Eternal, or a Celestial?
Well, what's his
Thanos?
Star-Lord's part Celestial.
Thanos,
which is weird because they're established as giant beings, and then you have Kurt Russell as a planet, his ego planet builder. But I think that's just how he manifests himself. It's not. Like I think they're clearly reestablishing the rules of the Celestials and stuff because I think that'll be a big component of the next big arc. Along with
Thanos is an Eternal, but a rare breed with the deviant gene. Very special member of his race. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I don't think. I don't think in this MCU he's an Eternal because Eternals are actually not robots. I think in the comics. Yeah, so I think that the them being robot creations is, I think, unique to the movie. So that's an MCU thing.
There's some sort of something.
So in this world, Thanos is definitely not Eternal because he's organic.
Yeah. Well, they're organic robots. We don't know. We don't know. They have blood and shit.
Do they?
We see them bleed. So he could be. Who fucking knows? Not me.
Not this guy.
Not this guy. I don't fucking know. I think my favorite part is. My favorite part of this movie is whenever Kingo's valet says goodbye to all of them. I think Kingo's valet is my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah.
And especially when he says goodbye to them, when he's like, I'm so grateful to you guys for everything that you've done. Like, yeah, he's goofy and stuff, but it's like in that moment, it's just like, that would be so fucking crazy. And it's like, I think that weirdly has the appropriate amount of like, I'm here. I'm just here for it, guys. I'm just here to play and to see you guys, whatever you need. And also him being like, what you think I'm just going to go home? No, I would rather die. If I'm going to die in 2 days, I would rather die hanging out with the people who are maybe going to save me than just die. I don't like.
Well, he's like in the middle of like the Mediterranean Garden of Life or whatever. He's in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Where's he going to go in 2 days that quickly? I
Yeah.
guess he goes with Kingo, so they probably have a jet or something. But it's just like, I mean, what are you going to do? I guess maybe not hang out with them anymore.
Yeah, what am I going to do, bro? I'm just going to hang out with you guys, get my cameras smashed. It'll be fine.
It was a dumb but fun little predictable bit with how he always had backup cameras too.
Yeah.
Which was just the means for them to like continue that bit of him filming shit. But I was fine for it. It was funny.
Yeah. I also liked Gilgamesh's fermented spit beer. or wine or whatever. I don't know if that's how that would work, but I did like that. I don't know. I was initially worried that I wouldn't like Kumail because I was like, they're making him goofy. But then it was right. It was perfect. It was a good amount.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
so where do you think the movie leaves us? So we have half the Eternals leave to go figure out what they want out of their life. I think it's Druig, Athena, and Mercury. And then Festus, Circe, Kingo stay behind on Earth. And they get sucked up.
Is there only 6 left? Oh, Sprite stays on Earth, but she's not Eternal anymore.
She just becomes a human. But then the other 3 get sucked in, and they get the Celestial says something to them like, "You fucked up, but maybe I'll give you this pass." I forgot what happens.
Yeah.
But that's where it leaves us, and then it also leaves us with a Blade teaser, and
it did.
And Jon Snow maybe being Black Knight, or is going to be Black Knight. So that's
which they also set up earlier in the movie, whenever Athena is swinging around a blade. And they're like, "Oh, is that the ebony blade?" And then Athena's like, "It's Excalibur."
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's cool.
I don't know. I think
it'll be.
I'm more interested in that. Also, it leaves us with we've got a sexy little Thanos sibling.
Yep.
Sweet little, sexy little guy.
It was a Harry Styles?
It's Harry Styles. Yeah.
Yeah,
it is Harry Styles.
So for me, because they're obviously getting deeper with these things. I don't know the fuck who Star Fox is. I thought he was like Fox McCloud. Is Star Fox to me. And then like the little goat troll thing. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this isn't doing anything for me. I wouldn't be surprised. But like, I was like ready because like it was like the shimmering. I was like, okay, is Thor coming in? The Guardians? Like, like something. It was something new. And that's cool. Like, I'm happy, and I'll know who Star Fox is very soon. Thanos' brother. Because we got to keep everything in the family, keep the world small. But I don't know where that's going to go. That'll be interesting. And I'm more interested, though, in the Blade vampire side of things. And
yes,
I don't know where Black Knight will come in, but I'm definitely way more interested in...
I don't know. I don't know much about that.
Me neither. It isn't like a super fleshed out character from what I've seen.
What, Black Knight?
Yeah, like he has his own comics and stuff, but like he doesn't have a deep... amount of content. Maybe
they do
could
well
be wrong.
with those kind of characters.
Yeah,
especially in the new where they're like, "Hey, let's fucking go with it."
Yeah,
we get to make this up. So I'm definitely interested to see, and then also, I'm also interested too with like the whole Morbius, like what the world is going to look like.
They're going to say, what in the world is that going to be? What the world is that movie?
Well, yeah, there's that. But it's also like what the world is going to look like after, what's his name? After Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what are we doing? Because it's clear that we're fucking setting stuff up.
They're opening up a lot of doors with the Sony-owned properties. And if Morbius is like adjacent or going to be present, the vibe feels real weird. But I'm also okay with that.
Weird.
Or not real weird, but real different. And I'm okay with that too if Blade feels like a different, more grungy movie. And I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's better for Blade. But it's going to be impressive if they pull it off, but I think the Sony collaboration, that they're not as good movies, and they don't, and when they are good, they take advantage of different things that aren't why Marvel movies are good. Venom, case in point. First one had ridiculous moments. People love those. Second one's like, fuck yeah, let's make the whole movie ridiculous. It's rated R too. It's rated PG-13, but
it's not rated R.
It toes the line as much as it can. And then you just have Marvel movies. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing there. And then I think the metaverse stuff is cool, but I think it's going to start to become a cop-out or a way to get away from things that they don't like or that aren't successful or retconning things.
Well, and that's one of the... It's funny, too, because it's like they're getting further away from what made it so interesting to me. I don't know. I'm down to see it, but I feel like this Eternals movie has sort of like... Between Eternals and Black Widow, like... I keep like, so if we were to follow my graph of like interest in the MCU, if it's stock, it's still like fucking Disney, it's still like 150. It's still up there where you're like, okay, yeah, the interest is high, but it's also like, we've got Endgame. It's at its peak. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. We figured it out. This is great. It's a culmination of a continuous universe for 10 years. That's amazing. I love it. All these characters I know and love, we're handling them great. And then it's like, bump. It like bumped down with Black Widow, back up with Loki, back down with this movie where I'm just like, which it's disappointing for me because I love a good lore dump. I love a good dumping of some lore, spreading that sweet lore all over a sandwich and eating it up. Hell yeah. But this, like, it feels like every step that they take gets a little bit, like, instead of getting deeper and wider, it feels like it pulls tighter at threads that they already had rather than adding new branches. Like, even having Eros and, like, Star Fox be Thanos' brother, like, it's like, all right, well, we're pulling that Thanos thread tight. Yeah. And it's like, well, the world can be big. The world can be big. We've got a whole fucking universe out there, bud. Let's see some other stuff.
Well, I think it's like the stakes aren't like they're having so much fun teasing shit that they haven't done a good job setting the stakes, and it's like they're a victim of their own success because they built up this thing where now we know it's a big universe and it's going towards something big, and we're just like, what are we going towards and what threads are we pulling at, instead of just enjoying these stories alone, and I think it's a victim of their own success, and, I think that's why certain things like Thor and Guardians can keep succeeding because they're so integrated, and then, you have like the human, like earthbound, like Iron Mans and those people because they can be so integrated and you can keep that world big. But when you start to introduce these new characters, and generally obscure ones, it's becoming difficult. And, I think the saving grace will be them doing X-Men well and them doing the Fantastic Four well. And I think that's like also their saving. That's also their saving grace is that they can bring in these huge properties, because it's like, Iron Man's gone, Captain America's gone. There's new iterations, but like, just like to many people, especially new comic book fans, like the core feels like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and it's like they're gone now. And it's like to a lot of people, it feels like B team essentially, and you got the Eternals and you have Black Widow spinoff.
Who?
And so I think it'll be helpful when they start to establish the spiritual successors, with Falcon as he takes the mantle, and then also, as I said earlier, when they start to integrate the X-Men and
Fantastic
Four, but they're probably going to do some meta universe shit and bring in Hugh Jackman, which will muddy that up, and it'll probably take the thunder away from whoever's supposed to be MCU Wolverine. So who knows?
Well, because again, John, is it more important to make the money now or is it more important to set up a better story for later? I guess is the question.
I would say look at how Endgame and Infinity War did. Set it up for later.
I know, but if you've got the opportunity there, bud.
They want
to be. You don't have an opportunity.
Oh, then they're going to do it.
Because then what they can do now is they can bring Wolverine. They can bring Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and they can one-off him and send him to his own universe. Oh my gosh, I got cut on that word. I don't know. I'm trepidatious about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch them all. I'll eat it up still.
Yeah,
but they had something special there, and it's going to be.
I'll still go see it.
Yeah,
I'll still go see it.
It'll be interesting how they build up to something.
But it is interesting though. Now that we're adding.
Well, they've also put
more content.
Yeah.
I feel like, even this. What is this? 160 or 70, 170, $200 million budget movie.
Yeah.
The value of it feels less though, as far as like the value of even Iron Man 2, as far as like both storytelling and also like the eventness of it.
Well, yeah.
And maybe I'm stupid,
but again, Marvel. I feel like Marvel hammered that home into itself too, because like, this is our story, this is our universe of heroes and stuff. And then we learn in Loki, it's like, you know what? You're right, because there's only one way this was going to go. These are the one way. These are the guys. These are the things that happen. And then all of a sudden they open up the metaverse, and it takes that importance and that ownership, and it makes that kind of oneness and uniformity and inevitability of Iron Man and their story and Thanos.
Yeah.
And then you have all this new stuff, and you're like, this is just Divergent, which is cool and fun. And that, that's what I always thought it was. But, they tell you no. This is like they go back and they're like, this is the only way it was. That was how it was always going to happen. And now that they have the metaverses, I think it takes the weight off, and I think because it's so integrated so far to this point that when you're watching something, you're like, the stakes are gone, and within that world and within even the galaxy and the universe, the singular universe, because there's other ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense.
I hear you. No, that makes sense. Man, I don't know. I'm excited for the Spider-Man. I wish that they didn't show us so much in the fucking.
I know.
I wish in the trailer. I'm gonna see it anyway, guys. Like, if I'm any indication, don't stop talking about it.
All right. Yeah, don't watch the trailer if you don't want to get spoiled. You saw the thing about the Spanish trailer or something or whatever with the lizard getting punched? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but it's like it's so bad, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
But
who do you think where do you think Venom will side? Good or bads? I think he's taking on the lizard in that.
Okay.
Because
that's interesting.
It's from a lower position, similar sized opponent.
Yeah.
He's kind of in the side, like the focus is on the Spider-Mans. I don't know. That's a very base. There's nothing base on that guess, but
well, also, so we could have, and the thing is, we could have, instead of having the other Spider-Mans, which I think we'll probably have, but we could also have Venom and Daredevil doing shit, because apparently Daredevil is maybe in it too.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it'll be an event. I think they pulled an
Charlie
event
Cox
movie.
is Daredevil.
Yeah, they pulled an event out of nowhere for this movie. Like, I don't know. Like,
is it out of nowhere?
It's not out of nowhere, but in terms of like, obviously, Endgame, Infinity War was very much movies building up, and this is like, oh shit, we have some history that we can pull up. We're gonna do it now, or whatever. So
yeah,
I guess that's all.
I wonder, and again, I feel like we've already sort of talked about this, but as we're sort of like, which do you think came first? Do you think the like story or idea behind it came first, or do you think the business end of it? Like, do you think that this is something that came up when they were brainstorming, whenever it was where they were like, Spider-Man's out of the MCU, when they had that most recent thing, and they were, because I think that a lot of that stuff is fucking Marvel fucking promo shit. And I am both here for it and annoyed by it,
That's a hard question to answer.
Huh?
That's a hard question to answer. I'd say almost as hard as chicken and egg. That's one of the big questions that we'll never answer. Is what came first?
What came first?
The story or
the multiverse
or the marketing opportunity?
Yeah.
Well, what'd you give this flick?
This sweet old little Marvel MCU jazz. I'm gonna give it fucking see it on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Also, I'll give it like 2.5 stars. 2.5 finger guns.
I gave it 3 out of 5, mainly because it was fun to look at, and I enjoyed aspects of it enough to just enjoy what I was looking at, and that was nice for me. I gave it 3. I gave it 3 golden daggers out of 5.
There you go.
Yeah, did it. I found a movie quote. What have you been watching?
Oh, it was fucking cool as shit. Whenever she turned, I was like, hell
yeah.
yeah. Whenever she turned that deviant into a tree out of the water, I was like, this is cool as shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What have I been watching? I've been watching that show Arcane.
Oh, nice.
I'm fucking hooked on that shit. That's great. Our buddy Fable got me watching that. We went out to go hang out with him, and
he turned you on to it.
He turned me on to it, dude. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Like storytelling wise, it's a good show. I like the art design too of things.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. I gotta get around to watching it. I've been
It's a good one.
Oh, what else have you been watching?
I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Especially since we got back.
I watched Heathers a couple weeks ago, since we had a gap in recording.
Oh yeah.
Fun, wacky 80s, 90s movies. I think the last episode you're like, yeah, the 80s and 90s, they just made weird stuff. And you're talking about Double Jeopardy. And then I watched this, and I was like, oh, wow, they really did. It's like a weird dark comedy about like high school and like murder. Mm-hmm. It's very like pervasive and dark. It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
And then I also watched, what else did I watch? I watched Nobody.
What else?
That was actually
the Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, I liked it. It was actually because it was like very much kind of following the John Wick thing, and it just gave me more of that, because the magic of John Wick was like, who is he? What is it? When he turns it on.
Yeah.
And this movie kind of does the same thing, but keeps it fresh and fun, and you kind of get to experience the John Wick thing for the first time again through that movie, Nobody.
Oh, cool.
So it's cool. I'd recommend it. And then I've been watching some Love Island. As trash TV. Fable also put that on for us, and I was like, oh, all right. And then I had some people over, and we were fried, and I put one episode on, or maybe 2, and then yesterday I just had a long day, and I was like, I need to not think. And what's the best thing for not thinking is some trash TV. So I've been feeling I've needed a dose of it for a while in my life, so it did the job. It's absolute trash TV. Love Island. But watching season 7 of the British one.
There's a game show. Or not a game show. There's a reality show. Are You the One? Is the one that I was talking to you about?
Yeah, it's like where you have to pick the right match or something.
Yeah. That one's fucking great. That one is fucking great.
I'll have to peek it. Well, Love Island has 50 fucking episodes, and they're an hour long. I'm like, oh my god, this is where I decide what I'm doing. What were you gonna say?
No, Are You the One is great. They have really fun. It's good. It's a good stupid show, but it's like an interesting concept. And a lot of those like reality TV shows are like very interesting as far as like human behavior and like the amount of it that is like where you see where it's staged and then how like sort of like the lack of it's just they're very interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
it's fun little social experiments, even if they're very crafted and fake. You can at least play around and see it. Like you can see it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's where they're kind of more than anything. They're kind of going towards like social experiments, it's like people with all like the Japanese game shows and stuff. They're like, people are gonna do stuff if you pay them to do it, and they're like, yeah, I'll fucking jump through Tetris for a chance at, And then other stuff where it's like, yeah, I'll take a personality quiz and play this game and try to find my perfect match, and the amount that people play the game versus they're actually trying to do the stuff, and it's very fun and interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect now with like social media clout and that being such a priority for people who aren't famous necessarily, but they're very vain and attractive and all these things. So when they have that platform, they know they have an idea that if they manipulate this well, they get that,
they can blow up.
Yeah, they get that fame and all that shit they want. So it makes it interesting, and you can really kind of make it more reality. If you really can just set the pieces and let these people go, because they have this weird ulterior motive of being famous, which is pretty cool for the sake of making the reality stuff a little bit more hands off, and you don't lose the wildness from it.
Well, because I think too, competition gets people's juices flowing, because people want to win. People want to win.
Yeah.
And I feel like, people want to win, and they want to be the one who does the thing.
There's going to be quotes on in coaching lockers and offices and whatever for high school teams and college teams, and it's going to say that people want to win, and they're going to do the thing.
Oh man! I also watched a shit ton of movies on the plane when we were flying all over the place. Nice. I watched Space Jam, Legacy, awful movie. I watched Jungle Cruise, better than I thought it was going to be, but not great. The Courier, awesome. I liked The Courier, but also I like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Huh?
John?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Those. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Those were some.
I was just letting you.
Some other movies.
I was just letting you live with that Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch.
Just saying that.
Cumberbatch.
But I think that we've reached the end. It's I guess
we have reached the end.
You've recommended it for Disney Plus. I too as well would recommend it as a streaming movie. Which if it's still in theaters and you haven't seen it, then don't go see the movie later. Yeah. Like, just don't. If you haven't seen it at this point, wait for it, I guess is the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Just like and subscribe, rate and review. Go check out the shirt at jtmerch.com. And yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
We love you. And as they say in Babylon, hey, I've got a triangle that flies.